Hey, welcome to Squares of the Roundtable podcast. I appreciate you being with us this week, and with me is the one, the only man of 1,000 voices, although we've heard only a few of them on the show, the one and only Mike Boyle.
Hey, Jeff. Greetings. Hey, everybody. Thanks for downloading us, bringing us into your ears.
Yeah, I wish not to feel so violated in that manner, but okay. No.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your earbuds, even if they're not rechargeable.
Yeah. I don't necessarily need them to be rechargeable, no.
No, I didn't care for that. I still get the little adapter thingy so I can use it in my iPhone, and I can still have the cord. I need the cord. I don't trust them because they fall and you'll step on them and they break and then they're expensive. I'll buy the $5 ones.
So can you use earbuds? Because I gotta be honest with you, I try to use earbuds. I put them in my ear and they fall right out. I have to use headphones.
No, I use earbuds every week when recording this here podcast.
Oh, this here podcast. Where can you find this here podcast? He said.
This here podcast is on the interwebs.
Thanks, Mike, for narrowing it down. Can you give them an idea of where to find it on the interwebs?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're listening to us here on YouTube, we are also on PodBean. And if you're on PodBean listening to us, you can also find us on YouTube. We are on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. And we're also on our Facebook page. That's where we're most active. Squares of the Round Table on Facebook. And you want to send us an email, that'd be great too. Give me an idea as to what I should carve my pumpkin at for Halloween. Should I be a scary face? Should it be something funny? Should it be like a scary cat or a spooky ghost? Send me an email. sotrtpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we're missing a square. So the table's going to be a little bit more rectangular today.
Yeah. Ivan is recovering. He's had a procedure today. We're going to learn more about that next week. We will pry deep and deep into that Puerto Rican mind of his. Ivan will be back with us next week, of course. But until then, you just got us, and we giving you all we got. We ain't can give you no more, Captain.
You really, I was really about ready to pounce until you said his Puerto Rican mind, because we're going to pry really, really deep. Really, Mike, we are?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. Make sure we wear gloves that day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not physically. Ew, that's gross.
Yeah. Well, you said pry. You said deep. Never. Yeah, we think Ivan's going for a grease and change oil. It's the 50,000 miles thing, I think. I don't know.
It could be the 100,000 mile checkup at this point.
I was trying to be nice.
So how was your weekend, Jeff?
Oh, weekend. God, what did I do this weekend? Wow. I gotta remember. Hold on a second. What exactly did I do? Gotta tell you, not too much. It was my mom's birthday this weekend, so it kind of turned into the birthday weekend. I got her flowers. I got her some chocolate-covered strawberries. Paid for her beauty shop for the day. And then we went to see at Center East a play on Simon Wiesenthal. It was like a one-man show play. It was okay. There was something about it, though, that I was just like, I can't sit much longer through this. It just seemed like it was kind of long.
What was it about?
Simon Wiesenthal, the Jewish man who survived the Holocaust, who survived the Nazi concentration. Let me try that again. The Nazi concentration camps, and was kind of like a bounty hunt, kind of hunted Nazis all over the world. He successfully prosecuted 1,100 different Nazis and found them. Some people would call him the Jewish James Bond.
Wow.
There have been stuff on him before. He was involved in finding Adolf Eichmann, as well as, like I said, a whole slew of others as well. But again, this was kind of like a one-man show kind of thing, and it was all right. Sunday night was over at Midwest Speaking Professionals, and if you're looking to up your game in terms of going and becoming a professional presenter, we always welcome people. It's the first and third Sunday nights. Other than that, what else did I do? Oh, I saw RBG, the Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Was that on CNN?
Yeah, I got it off CNN. I taped it.
Is it pay-per-view or one of their CNN channels, like their many CNN channels?
It was the regular CNN channel. I had taped it, but it had been in the theaters over the summer.
Okay.
I had considered seeing it, but I actually got the chance to watch it for free because CNN ran it, I think, during Labor Day weekend. And I would say, it's a documentary. It certainly has its interest points, but to say that the material was a little bit on the dull side, yeah. I still haven't seen the Mr. Rogers one, and I want to, but there's a part of me where I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ready to sit through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I want to see it too, but oh man, it's not going to be an easy viewing.
No, right. And I'm like, I think I've gotten to that point where it's like, I do like drama, movies with some drama, and I do like documentaries, but sometimes you just get to a point where it's like, okay, can't I just watch something fun? Something fun or funny or mindless or, something crazy. I guess I'm at that point. But what about you, Mike? I saw you did some gaming over the weekend.
Yes, I did. Let's see. Well, Friday. What did I do Friday?
I know. Isn't it hard?
Went to dinner. Yeah. Let's see. I got to recap my whole weekend. Let's see. Friday, I got out of work and just went to dinner here at the Village Squire. It's a local. It's regional. I don't know if there's a Village Squire nearby you.
No. I think there's a Village Pop. There's a Village Inn. I don't know if that's near the Squire or the Squire goes to the Village Inn. No. I have no idea. I'm just making things up.
Village Squire and had some steak and shrimp. Was good. And Saturday I worked all day. And then Saturday we had that. Did you get caught in that, like the sleet and the snow on Saturday?
No, I think we didn't get it all the way over here.
No, we did. Maybe you were because you're closer to the shore. But we had for like 10 minutes, we had like winter arrived for like 10 or 15 minutes here out by me.
Yeah.
And we had like sleet and then it was like snow blowing around in the air and then when it was gone. By afternoon, the sun had come out. Like, oh man. Like old man winter would be all like, oh yeah, I'm heading for you bitches.
Yeah, I continue to kind of sit there and be like, what? Where it happened? It's like 1 minute it's really nice, and the next minute it goes like 20 degrees lower. It's like, what the?
Yeah, we did get cold this weekend.
The only thing is I guess the National Weather Forecast people say that we're supposed to have a mild winter, but I'll believe it when I see it, if you know what I mean.
Well, warmer weather might mean less snow, but it might mean more ice. And ice, I'll take snow over ice any day. Yeah. But not that I have to worry about it whenever I'm driving. I have a short commute, and I got a 4x4 vehicle, so I'm not worried about it. But driving around in the ice, yeah, sucks. So we had a little bit of that on Saturday. And then Saturday night, I just tired, and I didn't get to see Ant-Man and the Wasp because I bought the DVD last week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I have the DVD. I haven't watched any of it yet. I want to see. There's other. I think Michael Douglas did like a brief online ask me anything kind of thing with the internet last week to promote the DVD release, but I didn't see that. But any of that, yeah, I wanted to see. I will catch it maybe. Let's see. After tomorrow, I'm off work because I got a couple of days to chill before TFCon, so I might try and catch it maybe tomorrow night, which is Tuesday night here, Tuesday the 23rd for you people. So I want to see Ant-Man and the Wasp. I want to catch some of the bonus features and all that. But no, I didn't get to see it. And then Sunday I did a crap ton. It's okay, I can say shit. A crap ton of yard work, the raking of the leaves and all that.
Mm.
And so they're working outside, and they're gonna get, just reminding me of the things I got to do to to the house before the winter comes. Got batteries to pull and things to move, like the patio furniture and all that. I got to take care of that. I'll take care of that after Halloween. So then, yeah, did some yard work in the morning, and then in the afternoon, and just I decided to watch the Bears versus the Patriots, and that wasn't so bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a slaughter, but I had Return of the Jedi on TBS on your last button on the remote, so I can switch back to the Bears game and Return of the Jedi. Let's go back, quote some dialogue, go back. Okay, yep, we lost possession. Go back. It's a trap. So then, Sunday night we had an impromptu game session because we usually, like, every other Sunday is our game night. But then one guy said, "Oh, I can make it." I was like, "Okay." And then the other guy's like, "Yeah, what time? Are we doing it?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure." So put the tables together and I tried out a new game I got called Dragon's Gold.
Okay.
And this was like it's a part cooperative, part competitive kind of format where it's not so much killing the dragons, it's also about splitting up all the loot and seeing who winds up with the best gold pieces or gems or whatever at the end of the game, adding it all up to see who does better. But see, all the thing is that I've got friends we're too nice to each other, so our negotiation skills are kind of like, all right, I'll take that, you take those two. Like, okay, fine, done. Because usually it comes with a 60-second timer. Like, once you kill the dragon, you have to divvy up all the gems you put on the board. You pull the gems out of a baggie and you put them on the card with the dragon with this strength number and all that. So anyway, so that was fun though. And then the DC deck building game, we had a new version of doing that. Almost played like the Pathfinder card game where you have one main villain, and once you defeat the main villain, the stack of cards behind it is eliminated. So that was a fun way of playing the DC deck building game. I really like the mechanics of that game. I think I might get it for myself just to have it. And then we played Star Realms, which is the picture of the one I put up on my Facebook page as to what game we were playing. And that was fun. It's a competitive card game, but it's for deck building too. And that was fun. Yeah, I had a good time gaming with my buds.
For people who are listening who don't know what that means, what does a deck building game do?
It's a boxed get. It's like you start with a base deck of like a bunch of ones, and you use those ones as purchasing power to get larger cards to strengthen your deck. And then you can get cards that will eliminate the ones out of your original deck, your starter deck. So it'll strengthen your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that's about. And hopefully by the end of the game, you can play some really mad numbers out of your deck. Okay.
Are you trying to compete with people, or are you just building what you're building, or how does that?
Our base, like we have 3 players, and it's like 3 people have a collective, like say a base of like say 50 points, and you're trying to defeat an enemy that has like 150 points.
Mm-hmm.
So each player takes a turn, and then the bad guy takes his turn, where he could either gain health back or he'll deal massive damage to us. We have like bases and shields that can protect against our base health of 50, and of course much less as the game progresses. Hopefully not too much. And meanwhile, we all take turns taking out the main baddie.
Okay.
So it's competitive in that sense. But there's also, you can also add like what you'd call like victory points at the end to see who did the best. But there are also times like, okay, well that one turn you dealt like 30 damage. So that was a pretty cool round. But that's what that's about.
Okay. Well, no, like I said, I figured I'd ask because there are people who might be listening to the show who don't know what it is, because our show goes a lot of different directions sometimes.
Absolutely.
So it's, you never know where we're going to end up or what we're going to talk about. Yeah. Because Ivan's not here, chances are we're not going to be talking about music as much tonight or today or whenever the heck it is you listen to this.
And I also read Batman number 57, where Batman beats the crap out of KG Beast. the guy who gave the headshot to Dick Grayson. Now, see, I didn't know that Dick Grayson lived. There's like issue 54 where Dick Grayson meets Gordon on the rooftop. He lights the bat signal, and KG Beast had a sniper position set up. And because KG Beast lost an arm from Batman, he decided to try and take out Dick Grayson to punish the Batman.
So my understanding is there's an entire storyline that is now happening in the Nightwing book.
Yeah.
As a result of this, where he doesn't have his memory. He's now Rick Grayson, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. And it's as somebody who's been a long time Dick Grayson fan and a fan of that character, I've had my real issues with a lot that's been done with the character. And one of the biggest issues I have is that I understand that he started as a Batman character, but he achieved a great deal of popularity in the 80s and for a long time as a member of the Titans. And the Titans at one point was the most popular book that DC had. And, after a while, the Batman editors kind of got their hands back on Dick Grayson. And that's okay, but they have done everything in their power at times to kind of bring him in the last, I don't know, maybe 10, at least 10 years back to being more about the Bat family than the fact that Dick Grayson, at least when I read Dick Grayson, was always somebody who kind of was the connector of heroes throughout the DC universe. And so to me, it's kind of disappointing. I'd like to see that book having a little bit more guest stars at times. And not necessarily when I say that, do I mean like I need to see Wally West as the Flash, or I need to see Roy Harper as Red Arrow. It could be something as, hey, I just came by to hang out and have a beer. If you understand what I mean. Yeah. The fact that they pretty much nerfed the entire Starfire relationship because if I remember correctly at one point, the Bat Office is like, we can't have Dick Grayson dating a 6-foot goddamn alien. Which, okay, if you say so, except it was the basis of one of your most popular books for at least a decade plus.
Yeah, and the original Teen Titans animated series. And I know we're getting echo again on your side.
Well, but the point I'm getting at is, and to get to the point of this, I'm not against some of the changes. I'm not against something that they're trying to do something different and unique, and I get it, and I should wait to hear what the story is. But there are a lot of times where I really just wish they would try to tell interesting Dick Grayson stories where it's not where it doesn't seem like he's Batman Jr., he's Batman Light. And it's been long enough where it's like, why doesn't Dick Grayson kind of have his own supporting cast at this point? Why is it kind of Batman supporting cast or different unique relationships with that? And that's something that's been there for a while. Again, I don't know, we'll see. I just continue to sit there and go, wow, you're missing a great opportunity with one of the most original and oldest characters in all of DC Comics. But what do I know? This is why I read comics and I don't write them. And I guess I'm done on my rant. I apologize.
Okay.
It's just, it just.
Well, my thing is I didn't know Grayson lived when he took that headshot. I mean, that was the splash page at the end of the one issue, and like, oh my God, you setting up. You see the Beast. He's buying the gun, and meanwhile he's getting the apartment with the perfect view of the roof of the Gotham City Police headquarters. And meanwhile, Batman and Dick Grayson are having these flashbacks where they're leading up to present day, where they meet Gordon on the building, and all of a sudden, boom, he takes a bullet to the head, And for 3 issues, I didn't know that he didn't die. Most times, you take a headshot, you're done. But he had some memory loss, and now he has a different skill set, and now he's Rick Grayson.
Yeah, Rick
so
Grayson.
I'm interested to see where this is going in the Batman series. And the thing is, that pulled me in was the wedding between Selina and Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think this is the other problem that I have with this storyline is that if this was, we're going to be done in a year, okay, fine. Okay, fine. We're going to be done in a year with it, that's fine. But a lot of these storylines now take a lot longer than that. This could be like a 2-year storyline.
It might be.
Interested in reading this for 2 years. Really, in reality, I'm about interested in it for about 6 months. but they usually will sit there and say, "Oh, that's not enough time to tell a story." Well, okay, this is what happens when you have 4 splash pages and you've decompressed the books to where you're at now on a 22-page book. You know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not against it. I just feel like these stories are long. I feel
and you have to read, you got to follow the Nightwing series as well as the Batman series.
Oh, sure.
It's like when I started reading Carol Danvers' Captain Marvel 2 years ago, when they did a 5-issue series where she took command of Alpha Flight. It's like, okay, this is an interesting character. We'll see. And we know that, and I knew that 2.5 years ago now, that, okay, we're getting a Captain Marvel movie down the line eventually. So I went back and I read Civil War II. Civil War II, there's about 10 different ongoing series.
Yeah.
Just to complete that story. And I'm not reading all that. I bought the main trade of the main story. But there's lots of other little stories that sprinkle in and take place in concurrence with the main Civil War II story. I know that Civil War II was manufactured they made it strictly because the Civil War movie was coming out, you know, on the big screen. But I'm just having trouble with the fact that you have to follow multiple books to get the whole story, that they don't sum up as well, or even sometimes even mention. It's like, you want to think, where's this character? What's he doing during all this? Well, then you got to get this series, and that's, you know, 4 books a pop.
The objective is to sell books. At the same time, it's funny you say that, because, and again, I'll be honest, I don't read as much Marvel as I read DC. But, like, when the first Civil War came out, I didn't feel the need to go get a lot of books. Now, in fairness, I was reading all the Spider-Man books when he, and again, this is the original Civil War, when he announced that Spider-Man was Peter Parker, when he made the announcement.
When was that, in 2004, 2005?
Yeah, 2004, I think. But the point being that now granted, I was reading all the Spider-Man books at that point, because I liked the Spider-Man books at that time. And that was a storyline that I was interested in, so I was happy to buy it. But I didn't feel, and I think I was buying Avengers at the time because I liked Avengers too. But the point being, I didn't feel the need to go out of my way to go buy Iron Man or Captain America or anything else. I just bought Civil War. And it sounds like they may have. This is where I kind of got frustrated after a while. This is where I stopped reading comics, Mike, my break point was after Infinite Crisis from DC, which is you had the big crossover, which was, or I shouldn't say crossover, the mini series from Brad, oh God, what's his name? Famous author, can't remember the last name. This is gonna kill me. Is it Brad? No, is it Brad Mel? No. Now I'm gonna have now. This is gonna kill me, Mike. I gotta see who it is, because this is gonna. Brad Meltzer. I was right. but they did the thing from Brad Meltzer, and then they kind of dovetailed it towards Infinite Crisis, and they had all these books that were in between. And I bought all those books because I was like, I want to really understand what's going on and everything like this.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest with you, I bought the first issue of Infinite Crisis, and I thought we were kind of ready to go, and we were going to really get something, and I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be great. And in reality, it went right back to pretty much explaining a whole bunch of stuff that I already knew the answers for because I had read all this other stuff. Because really, DC has an opposite problem, which is they want people to buy this big, huge thing. And then, because, if you don't make it where it's accessible to everybody, sometimes these people won't buy it. So really, in reality, I felt like a sucker because I had paid and bought all these miniseries and this, and I was just like, we're not doing that again.
Infinite Crisis #1 was intended to be another entry level. You have to realize that a lot of people, any comic book could become someone's first comic book.
Right.
Maybe that's part of it. But you just felt gypped because you bought in all the prequels and all the preludes, and sometimes issue 0. Sometimes, I have a problem with that. Issue 0. Just say issue 1. Is it the prequel or prelogue? Or make issue 0 free. That's the rule. Issue 0 always has to be free. Because issue number 1, that's where you want it to start, but you want a prelude to the first one? Make the prelude number 1.
It's funny because...
I'm just nitpicking that you want you want to create a new story, you want to hit a reboot button, and you want to have another issue number 1 to help sell variant covers. Then make issue 0 free.
Well, so the first, in my opinion, and I could be wrong about this, the first time you got issue 0 becoming a thing was in the 90s. And the reason it became a thing was you had DC doing a crossover called 0 Hour. Okay? So it made sense that in 0 Hour, when everything went to hell, you created 0 issues. Because it was 0 Hour. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that made sense, and that's why those issue 0s existed at the time. Since then, yes, it's become its own little entity, and without question, it's become some of that. But yeah, like I said, I've gotten to the point now where it's like I'm either waiting for the trade and I'll buy it, or I'm going to the library and getting the stuff because I just it's awesome that there's so much product out there. It really is.
Yeah.
But I just don't have it. I mean, there's only so much content I can check out between movies, TV, whatever's going on social media. There's only so much content everybody can hit.
True. And especially if there's a $1 price tag attached to it.
Yeah. I think that's the one question I have down the road for comics is, and we've talked about this before, which is
yes, we have.
Books. Books are now anywhere from a regular leaflet book is what I think 4, maybe 5.
Most newsstand comics are $3.99.
Are they? Okay. And I think there's a few that might be in the 5 range, and it's like...
Yeah, larger issues or deluxe issues or certain special one-offs or something.
And depending on what character it is, sometimes they'll charge more just because they can because of a certain character. Like, it's Batman, so we can charge more.
Yeah, I think they charged... I think issue 50, The Wedding, was a little bit more than $3.99.
Oh, I imagine it.
It was a special event, so I think that was.
I mean, that's where. But like I said, to me, the audience is becoming interesting because you have some real disconnects on your audience, which is you have a situation where I don't know that the comic book audience is growing in terms of the actual books, but I know that comic books and superheroes are bigger than ever and what I can use to point to is all of the other stuff that's available now. Like the cartoons, like the movies, like the TV shows, all the merchandise that's out there. It's crazy now.
Yeah.
And I think that there's the fans there's a fans of superheroes in Marvel and DC, and I think there is a differentiation between those who read and those who don't. And I don't think that's a bad thing. But again, if I'm paying, I do kind of laugh because if I'm paying $5, I mean, how much was the Infinity War DVD you got?
Well, if you could buy it on the day it came out, usually at $20.
$20? So here's the question. Do you okay, assuming comics are $4 a piece, $5 comic books for $20 or Avengers Infinity War DVD?
Well, it depends on the story, obviously. But
right. Well,
read
that too.
Yeah. There's that option. You're right. Exactly.
But, okay, let me try this a different way. You're a parent and you got a kid who's sitting there going, here's 5 comic books I want to buy, or you can buy the DVD for Avengers Infinity War.
Well, technically, I think 5 issues would take almost the same amount of time, maybe a little less, to read. But I think the DVD, you get more mileage out of that.
Right. Well, that was kind of my point, which is, how often are they going back to those books versus, okay, the DVD, they'll go back and watch Infinity War again a couple of times.
Because I've got a huge IDW run of Transformers that started, what was it? I not all the way back to when IDW started, because before then it was Dreamwave, and then they went under because the president was underhanded and didn't pay his artists. But then IDW took over the IP, and then I think it was in 2005, and I think it was like either 2012 when we had our big one, which was the last stand of the Wreckers. So back when, it was like 2013, 2014. So I've been buying Transformers comics solid for about close to 4 years. And I've got a long box. And I don't know, maybe someday I will go back and, go back to that first issue and go through that long box and binge read all the single issues that I bought over the last 4 years.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed is, and this is the other thing too, like when I finally sold all my comics, one of the complaints that I got was, because I thought I'd get a good amount of money for them, and he's like, well, these aren't kept in the best condition, there's fingerprints, there's this, there's that, it looks like they've been used. Well, yeah, of course they look like they've been used, I read them.
Yeah.
I wasn't really being a collector. I was more along the lines of this was stuff I wanted and I wanted to read, and that was part of it. And it's almost at the point now, if you want to be a collector, it's, okay, I buy one for me to read and one for me to put in a bag and never touch again.
And hope maybe someday you'll get a return on that investment, which will be somewhat marginal unless you get some strange happenstance like we talked about last week with Batman Damned #1, where we saw a little something that DC didn't like, or they got too much bad press for it, so that's never going to get reprinted. But in most cases, you're not going to get much of a return on that investment, especially on the physical copy, unless it's dead mint, and then you have to go get it graded, and that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, well, there are some people where there are some exceptions, but they're rare.
The exceptions don't outweigh. They're nowhere near the percentage of the mainstream.
Were you around in the 80s when you got your hands on one of the first copies of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Right, or maybe now in the modern era, maybe one of the earlier first issues of The Walking Dead.
Right. Well, I was going there. I was getting there.
Yeah.
I was going to say in the 90s, you're probably talking about, did you get early prints of the first Spawn? Right. Did you get that? Did you get early prints of Hellboy? Okay. Those would be probably possibilities for where from the 90s there would be stuff that was worthwhile. In the 2000s, yeah, you're 100% right. Do you have early copies of 300 or Sin City or The Walking Dead? Do you have those? If you have those, yeah, there might be a market for that. There might be. There's a part of me where I'm curious. I'm curious with the fact that if you have Captain America Civil War, if you had really good copies of the original Civil War, I would be curious if those spiked at all. If there was any movement at all for those issues. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm sure like the Marvel movie might have created an interest in buying back issues of some of those earlier Civil War comics.
Mm-hmm.
From like, 10, 12 years ago, I think it was 14 or whatever.
Yeah,
I think it was.
I would bet it wouldn't be much.
That's why they.
Yeah, I would put money on the fact that it wouldn't be much. If anything, it was funny. What I really should have done with my collection was I should have taken it over to Ronald McDonald House and got it donated it. Because I think the kids would have enjoyed it more than anything. Although it's funny, the guy I gave it to said he was probably going to donate quite a bit of it. And there was a lot there.
Yeah, because like he said, a lot of it was pretty common stuff, and it wasn't kept in mint condition because it was red.
Some of it I laughed at, because with the price that I got, I'm positive he was able to sell some of the stuff that I had, and he probably made more off of it than what he gave me, because there was some stuff in there that wasn't rare. Yeah. That wasn't common. There was stuff in there that was definitely more on the rare side. It just wasn't in the best of. It wasn't 100% in the best of the condition, and I was trying to get rid of it. Like, for example, I still had, and I'll admit there was a tear in it, and it was, I guess I would rate it at poor I guess technically you would grade out as poor condition, but I still had one of those giant-sized Muhammad Ali Superman books. But the pages were in good shape. It was just that there was a tear on the cover. And in fairness, you could probably still right now sell that one for, even that particular copy, I bet he could have probably got $20.
Well, it's the thing, when you have a large collection like that, there's pieces that are going to get lost, and you say, well, if you sell them individually, you have to take the time to find the right collector and get the market value and not just take it to a store because they're going to sell it for half of its value because they have to make their money. Yeah,
and I learned my life. I don't think I ever told you about this. So it was funny because we were doing a estate sale when we moved out of the house, and I decided to do it this way. And there was a part of me where I was very, very tempted to keep the books and keep them for the estate sale, okay? And see how I would do by issue, by selling them by issue and basically pricing them out on my own. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm kind of glad I did, because estate sales, it's like people turn into like, there's a reason why they tell people don't be at estate sales if you own the house or if you're selling the stuff. Because
it goes for pennies on the dollar.
Because you will be incensed with what people do, how people act, what people say, how much they'll pay versus what it's worth. And everybody's using their phone to look stuff up on the internet.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm doing that now. I see that a lot more now when I do the Transformer shows.
Oh my God, everybody's doing it. And it was really funny too, because it was like, I had some of those old Arby's glasses with the superhero stuff on it.
Oh, cool.
And I looked them up on the internet, and I'm sitting there going, I told them what the price was, and people were like, oh, I'm not going to pay that. I'm like, well, I looked it up on the internet too. I'm not coming away with it where I don't get to make a profit too. But my favorite was, this is the part you'll get a kick out of. The part that made me laugh was the things that people would buy that you were just sitting there and you were like, what the hell? Where did that go? I had printer paper for the computer. Somebody comes up and goes, how much is this? I'm like, really? Yeah, really. We had people who bought out all our toilet paper. We didn't realize it.
What? Hopefully it was unused, still on the roll.
Oh no, it was a partially opened thing of toilet paper.
What?
It wasn't. I mean, as in like there had been a couple rolls taken out. The best was I had gotten like an air freshener to put in one of the bathrooms to make sure it didn't, to make sure it smelled well. I go walking in there later in the day, the first day, and I'm like, where's the air freshener? Someone bought it. My favorite was we had detergent to do laundry. We're looking around for the detergent. It's gone. I go with my mom to go to the store. She's like, I'm going to buy more detergent. I'm like, no, you're not. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, if you buy more detergent, they're going to come through and someone's going to buy it again. We might as well wait until after the sale. They ended up buying our answering machine when we weren't planning on selling it because somebody walked up and said, hey, how much? Anything that wasn't attached, I mean, even things where it was like, do not touch, this is not for sale, people would walk up and just pull stuff off and just do it. We had stuff where people would walk up and be like, how much for this? It's like, well, it says what it says. Well, I don't want what's inside, I just want the frames. I'm like, well, that's not how it works. You have to pay for the whole thing. And then, of course, they'll just drop any old thing in the middle of the floor. And then just keep walking. It's crazy. It's just crazy. And so there's a part of me where I'm like, boy, if I had had to sell comic books, I probably would have. Someone might have needed to call 911.
Yeah, and there was a time where I was selling a lot on eBay back in the 90s and the 2000s, but it came to a point where not just because eBay takes 10% now, and then you get your PayPal fees, and then shipping fees to be sure you can't overcharge on shipping. Not just that, but then just the flakers, the people with zero feedback, the brand new eBay users with no feedback at all or negative feedback. Then there's people sending you instant messages saying, I'll make you an offer. It's like, no, this is its price, and it can be frustrating for sure when you're selling stuff and you kind of know what it's worth, but people also, they think they can flip it, and that gets a little frustrating. Yeah.
Well, that's where we've gotten at this point, is everybody, and in fairness, I kind of gotten there too. I mean, I think we all have on some level, which is, okay, I'm going to look it up, I'm going to see if I can flip. Everything is that way now. And I mean, the only things that aren't that way are it's like retail. Like, you go into a store, you can't exactly sit there and go, yeah, today I'm not paying $3 for a Big Mac. I want to pay $2.
Well, at McDonald's, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
But there are other establishments where a guy will go into a store, maybe not a name brand store, but maybe even like a resale shop.
Yeah.
And say, you've got a table full of sweatshirts over there. If I buy 30 of them, will you give me 8% off? And the manager say, okay, yeah, I'll give you like 10% or 15 or whatever. But in most cases, yeah, most stores in retail, it's not Uncle Ned's trading post. Will not trade you 3 rabbit pelts for this garbage can.
Yeah.
Those days are over. But speaking of selling and buying, maybe you saw the news that Mr. Walter Payton's Porsche is on the market soon.
Oh, is it?
Yes. It is a 1979 Porsche 911 Turbo, first owned by Walter Payton.
Okay.
It's going on sale in Meekham's in the Meekham's car auctions. I think it's in Schaumburg. I think they have it. It's this weekend, actually, is the weekend. And it's, here, I have the article here. I don't know where this is from. But according to Payton's son, Jarrett, this 930 generation Porsche is the first sports car his father purchased after spending a few years in the NFL. He focused first on succeeding at sport, but 5 years of the top-tier football, he rewarded his hard work with a new 911 Turbo. It has less than 10,000 miles on it. Of course, Walter Payton died. He was only 45 when Walter Payton died.
Yeah, it's only been a little.
But a clean Porsche can sell anywhere from 100,000 to 300,000. So then, on top of that, this is owned by an NFL legend. I'd be interested to see how much this goes for in this weekend.
Does that do anything? I don't know. I don't have any idea.
You might have a car nut who is a big Bears fan, or even just a football fan in general.
I guess. Let's see. Out of curiosity, wait, hold on. Here's the auction. Here, okay. So I found the website for the auction. Does it say what the opening bid is?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's starts at $100,000.
Because usually, sometimes they'll tell you where the opening bid is.
Yep.
9,950
on the odometer, so less than 10. That's important.
Well, yeah.
But he bought it brand new.
But in fairness, is that really what you're paying for here? I'm looking to see. It doesn't necessarily give me. I found the site, but it doesn't. And people who are looking for it, it's. God, I don't even want to say this out loud. Mecum Auctions, which is mecum.com. Which sounds like a porn site. But
MECUM. Yeah, it's their Mecum car auctions. I haven't been to the show. I've seen the shows on the weekends when they have the cars pull up and they have the auction guy that talks. That's
like Porky Pig.
That's right. Yeah, those auction guys, man. Anyway.
Porky gonna give us Porky gonna do the
It's owned by Walter Payton. He was a running man, a football player. Anyway, yeah, I'd be interested. I'm not a Porsche guy, but hey, Tuesday is the $1.6 billion Mega Millions, so I guess I'll buy a ticket, but I don't think I'd use it to buy Walter Payton's Porsche, but.
Yeah, by the time this airs, we'll know whether or not this is going to go up.
Whether or not, yeah, one of us two might be the winners of 1.6
Have you bought tickets?
Yeah, I bought tickets.
I didn't. I should, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I keep telling people all I want is 0.5% of 1%, which, according to my math, means that I would be getting $8 million before taxes.
Mm-hmm. Not bad.
No, you can have the rest. I just want $8 million.
It'd be scary though.
Yeah,
just to instantly have that much money. You'd be crazy. Everybody you knew or you know or ever known will come at your door and with their hand out, and to say nothing of the charities that would be asking for money too. You have to get a security detail. You have to be careful for your family. Like family members might get held hostage for money, and it's scary, man.
But I believe they said. I don't remember what they said taxes on it was.
I think they said at $1.6 billion after taxes you get like $906 million.
No, only 906.
Only 906.
Yeah.
Nope. Right. I'll wait till it goes to an even $2 billion.
I saw somebody say that if you don't take the lump sum, if you take the payouts, someone was saying it's like $1 million a week for 30 years.
I'm not gonna live to be 30 years after where I'm at, so no, give me the lump sum. I'm at an age where I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it 30 more years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know, I'm gonna make it 5.
If I was young enough, yeah, you know what?
Yeah, maybe 10 years ago, I'll be like, yeah, give me the lump sum.
Yeah,
lump sum, not lumps son.
Oh, you mean give me the payout?
Give me the whole shebang, the whole shoot match.
Yeah, you want it. Yeah. If I was in my 20s and I won, or I was in my 30s, yes. Yeah, payout. Give me the weekly payout at $1 million.
Weekly payout. I'll be at the bank every week for my $1 million or whatever.
Yeah, it's like just direct deposit. What would it be like to basically be like, hey, it's Friday, I'm getting another $1 million.
Aww. Only, all right. I gotta get a gallon of milk, and I gotta fill up the gas tank, and I guess I gotta get my $1 million at a bank again this week.
Yeah. You know, and then there's those people who want to sit there and say, well, you know, if you worked this hard at this, you wouldn't have to shut up. Shut up.
Let me buy my little dream, my little chance at a dream.
Yeah,
it's harmless little.
Just shut up.
Throw $10 at it and say, I'll just not buy that value meal today.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, there you go. There, right there. I'm not buying 2 value meals. I actually am saving my health.
That's
right. Yeah. Now on top of the fact that we don't have Iron Fist, apparently we don't have Luke Cage anymore.
That's right. We've lost half the defenders. Thanos did his snap.
Yeah, that's what I...
Yeah, that's the meme that's going around.
That's the joke that's going around. I'm not surprised by this. My understanding is it has something to do with creative differences, but I'll be honest, I didn't look at the whole thing. My favorite is I saw a petition from fans going, demanding that they bring it back to that Netflix changed their mind, and I'm kind of like sitting there, and I'm kind of like, do you understand that this is good for Disney? That if these 2 characters are now done, that Disney can then use them with their streaming service possibly, and that this can get continued, or...
Have you started watching season 3 of Daredevil?
I have not. I
hear it's good, but eh.
Have you watched it?
No. I hear it's good. From people that I've talked to that are watching it.
Again, I have had such bad experiences with the Marvel Netflix shows. I really have. I really feel like at times they get boring.
Well, then what you have to do is you just have to wait for a couple of weeks and find out which episodes you can skip.
Yeah, I mean... But
just do that.
I just feel like with those shows, they only get 13 episodes, and why is it with 13 episodes, I feel like there's filler. There's filler, like they're trying to add filler. It's like, oh god, and I cannot stand the part where it's time for a fight, and now nobody can see a goddamn thing. I really can't stand it. It's frustrating.
I heard that was pretty bad with some of the editing, the way the fight scenes are edited.
Yeah, and then I heard somebody was raving about, I guess there's an episode where they did it in one take, there's a fight scene that's like 10 or 11 minutes straight long, and they're raving about it. I'm like, yeah, that's great, that's wonderful, for one freaking episode. Meanwhile, there'll be like entire episodes where you're sitting there going, oh my god, please, somebody do something.
Well, fight scenes are cool. So you really got to have the less is more approach.
I guess. Again, like I said, I just have not... I'll tell you, I think the DC shows on CW, I'm very happy with those products. In terms of characters, in terms of how they put together episodes, the fact that I can actually see what the hell's going on. Now, are there times I'm not so thrilled with some of the stories? Yeah, they're not perfect, okay? But they're good enough for what I'm looking for. They're giving me what I want. And I don't feel that way when I watch the Marvel stuff. I will probably try to watch Daredevil at some point, but I'm not in a hurry. I'm just not in a hurry. So I haven't gotten to there. I'm curious to see if Netflix, because now you're down to Jessica Jones and Daredevil, and well, actually no, you have Punisher too. So the real question is anybody else going into production on any of the other 3?
Yeah, now people are worried that Jessica Jones is next on the chopping block.
This is what I don't understand. Oh, it's next. Okay, that doesn't mean the character's done. It means, by the way, it doesn't necessarily mean the actress is done either. You know, Disney opens up its streaming service in 2019.
Right, but you can't have a little animated Mickey Mouse waving at the lower left-hand corner during a bloody fight scene where people are getting their, extremities blown off in these gritty Marvel Netflix series.
You could.
You could, but it won't look good for the mouse.
I think well, we'll see. I'm curious to see.
And it comes back to that fact that a couple of weeks ago you talked about this PG-13 cut of Deadpool 2 that's coming.
This Deadpool thing. The real question is, what's not clear, Mike, is what all this means. What all this means for 20th Century Fox, because or 21st Century Fox, or whatever the heck they are.
It's Fox.
Fox. Okay. The question is what does this all mean for Fox? It sounds like Fox will be an entity just like Lucasfilm, like Pixar, like Marvel. That they'll be their own animal. And if that's the case, they may get some leeway because there are other Disney products out there where they do, Miramax works with Kevin Smith, and they put out Clerks. And I know there's another Clerks movie down the road, and those are pretty freaking raunchy.
I think the next one is going to be Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Is it? Well, but the point is they get raunchy.
Yeah, they do.
That's not a PG-13 movie. That's an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
So they do have R-rated movies at Disney. It's just, again, it's not under the actual Disney brand.
Right. Doesn't have the Magic Kingdom castle and the watermark in the corner when Jay Muse is dropping F-bombs. Right.
But here's the thing. On Netflix, when they do their shows, there's no watermark.
I know what you mean. I'm just saying that it can't be under that umbrella.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't, because they're going to have some level of something that's more sophisticated for adults. Because you can't just sit there and not have that stuff, or otherwise you are gonna lose to Netflix. You are. And they don't want to lose. They want to, their goal is to eventually at some point overtake Netflix. I don't know that they're going to get there right away, but
Speaking of competing with the mouse, Wonder Woman flinched.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I am too. If it makes a better film, fine.
Yeah, well, and there's some other parts to this story that apparently they were in the process of working on a $6 million Man film, but apparently this was a project that was a Harvey Weinstein project, which you can take a wild guess that everybody probably wants to, as much as $6 Million Man sounds like a great idea, that project's probably nuclear hot for all the wrong reasons. So,
the article, what we're referring to is that the news dropped today through Gal Gadot's social media that Wonder Woman 1984 has been pushed from November to 2019 to summer of 2020. They're saying the optics that they want to project is that they want to have the same success from when they dropped the first Wonder Woman in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time. They're pushing it to June. They're saying it's where it belongs. But they don't want to compete with the Joker movie that's coming, and the end of next year is also Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is that they were originally slated to open
November.
My understanding is they were supposed to, according to Variety, they were supposed to slate to open the week before Episode 9. And it's like, that's not gonna work. That's a bad idea. If you've learned anything from this year about some of the stuff that went on, you gotta sit there and realize that you gotta protect
the thing is, also the Joaquin Phoenix Joker was going to premiere in October of 2019. So you didn't want that stepping on that.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, there's a part of me where, I'm not against it. I'm curious. To me, the thing that I have questions about, actually, now that we're here, this goes to we can dovetail to another topic entirely. But I am curious they have a lot of stuff in production at DC outside of those 3 movies. My question is what's next? Okay? Because so far you've got Aquaman, you've got Shazam, and you've got this
Joaquin Phoenix
movie.
Joker.
Well, and you've got this Joker movie, I guess. So here's the real question. They've got a lot of stuff in production, Mike. I just don't know. I don't know what's actually ready to be like, okay, we're ready to produce this now. I'm not sure. That's what's not clear.
I was just so looking forward to 2019 a year ago when they talked about what they were going to do with Batman for his 80th anniversary. They were going to have Gotham City Sirens, along with a Batgirl movie, possibly animated, then maybe a Nightwing movie, and then a Batman, a standalone Batman story.
So the irony is that this is a perfect example. All that stuff is still on the docket.
It's that. Exactly. It's all in production, but nothing's...
All in production, but nobody has a clue where it's at.
Right. It's all, like, it's a dry erase board is getting changed every week at DC.
Well, and I think that's the part where it gets, it's like, okay, what's the next step? I mean, to me, it seemed the most obvious answer is Suicide Squad 2, because you just brought in James Gunn. Right. But James Gunn may still have to write an entirely new script. So I don't think that's the answer either.
So we probably won't see that until 2020, 2021.
Right. So again, that becomes the question of, all right, what are you launching and where and how? But to me, I think the most interesting of all of it is, and this is the part where I am slightly excited, is because of the fact that it seems as though Warner's is done with trying to create a Superman movie at the moment. There are a million rumors right now and talk that we may get a Superman TV show.
Oh yeah, that's right. Based on the actor who did his cameos in the Supergirl series. Right, and
I gotta be honest, he's phenomenal.
Yeah, I watched the 2-parter with him when he premiered.
Yeah, he's really good, and I'll tell you now, he's in the crossover that's coming up, the Elseworlds thing that's gonna have Batwoman, and supposedly Lois Lane will be in that. So that's the case,
yeah. Did we talk about, as a quick aside, did we talk about Ruby Rose and the reveal of her Batwoman costume? I don't think we did.
Not necessarily. I mean, it was out there, but I'm like, okay.
Looks good.
I mean, okay, looks good. I mean, it's a Batman costume. It's a Batwoman costume. It's hard to screw that one up. Well, maybe I could be wrong. I take that back.
Clooney, George Clooney.
Wow. Yeah, as long as there's no nipples. But yeah, and the other thing is that apparently the pictures of Tyler Hoechlin in this what they're calling Elseworlds, which is the crossover, is apparently him in the black Superman suit. And then apparently there's rumors that Jensen Ackles from Supernatural was spotted on the set during the Arrowverse crossover. So, there's even talk that maybe they finally get that Supernatural crossover because it's quote unquote Elseworlds. Yeah. And the other thing is apparently, and this is the other reason I think there's smoke and fire to this, is apparently they're in the process of casting a Lex Luthor for this season for Supergirl.
Okay.
So if that's the case, if you really are, you've already cast the Lois Lane, you've already cast, you're in the process of casting a Lex Luthor. Yeah, why not a Superman show? I'm down. I think like I said, based on the episodes I've seen and what they've done with him, I'm down. I think Tyler Hoechlin done an amazing job, and if they can have the writers who wrote him for Supergirl work on a Superman script on a weekly basis, yeah, I'm in. I'm down. I'm good. Let's do this.
Yeah, even if it is 1 or 2 seasons.
I understand.
Bring it in the put it in the CW verse.
Boy, I'll tell you right now, a Superman show is going to go more. Well, I'll tell you right now, a Superman show is going to go more than 2 seasons easy.
Maybe this is the right way to do a Justice League again in the CW.
Well, it's certainly. Here's the thing I laugh about with all this stuff, which is all the actors and everybody involved cannot stand doing the crossover. They say it's the biggest pain in the ass because of the amount of work that has to go into it. And it's funny because they all say that, but yet they'll all be the first ones to admit, Mike, that they're like, yeah, we get it. We get why everybody loves them. We get why we do them. We totally understand it. We totally get it. And in fairness, the one last year, the Crisis on Earth X was just phenomenal. It holds up. And to me, I wish they'd do more of that kind of stuff. And maybe it's funny because I'll be honest, Mike, I haven't watched the Titans show on DC Universe and because I just haven't felt the need to pay for it yet.
I've seen a couple of screen grabs and GIF files on Tumblr, but it looks like them enough.
I guess there's some trailers that are out now for tease purposes, but yeah, I've not been in a hurry. But if they can, that's my one fear. No, I take it back. I was about to say that would be the one thing that would be interesting is if they moved that Superman series to the DC Universe, but that would be a mistake. That'd be a huge mistake.
I'm looking forward to the animated Reign of the Supermen next year. See how they
saw
that story.
I haven't seen the trailer for that yet. Have you?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah. I liked the animated Death of Superman, so we'll see how they tweak things for the Reign of the Supermen. That comes out next year.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's, like I said, I'm all for it. If they're not, and I'll take it a step further, I'd love a Batman series, a different Batman series than the Gotham thing, and I guess there's a trailer for Gotham, and I'm like, whatever. I just never got into Gotham. I tried it for a couple of seasons. I was not big on it. How about you?
Nope.
Yeah, and now I guess they're trying to do, they're trying to go back and they're going to do something for Alfred. They're going to call it Pennyworth, and they're going to look at his time back in the day of being when Alfred. I don't know. I'm not interested. Are you? I mean, I'd be interested in a comic, maybe. I don't know that I'm interested in, or maybe I'd be interested in a short movie or a short series. I don't know that I'm interested in a long-term series.
Wasn't that a punchline in the Teen Titans Go to the Movies? Where they see a trailer, and it's for Alfred, and Robin's like, oh, well, how come I don't get my own movie?
Yeah, there might have been.
Yeah, that might have been a punchline in that.
True. There's some real truth to that. There was some real truth to that whole Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Where it's getting to where it's almost going to be on demand, and I'm waiting because I definitely want to watch it.
Yeah, and Incredibles 2 is coming to DVD soon, so I'll get that eventually. I'll have to get it the week it comes out, so it's on sale, or maybe I'll just ask for it for Christmas. I don't know. We'll see. But I do want to see it again. I think I overplayed it a little bit. I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, it was good, and it was a good animated film. But I think given the choice, I think I'd rather see the first one again. Oh, a months go by, and it's like, oh yeah, Incredibles 2. It's like, I remember it being good, but just not like, wow.
Yeah. No, wow. I'm with you on that one. I don't remember it being...
Yeah,
I remember everybody else
phenomenal.
Like, wow, and me being like, okay. It was good, I just wasn't... It wasn't over the top spectacular like some people were.
You're right, yeah. It doesn't, the hype is not there.
No.
Oh well. Speaking of television, I got one more TV news item for me. Is I guess last week they wrapped season 2 filming of The Orville. So we'll get new episode. I think the season 2 premiere is December 30th.
Is it? I thought it was in 2019.
Nope. They say is December 30th is the season 2 premiere. That's current. That's its current date of release, which is weird because between the holidays, but
yeah, it seemed like a weird time.
Usually January is when they start, because most people aren't watching a whole lot of TV between Christmas and New Year's. A lot of people got too much going on. But I will obviously set the DVR, and hopefully it won't be on a Sunday. No, I don't think the 30th is on a Sunday this year. But anyway, so yeah, that's cool that they finished that. I'm going to watch that, of course, and when January comes, we'll get season 2 of Discovery as well. So I'll watch both of them because I like my Star Trek. One of them is a Star Trek almost in name, and the other one is an emotional and physical kind of homage. But most people just say, oh, it's Seth MacFarlane, it's the Family Guy, so it must be just about dick jokes. I'm like, no, it's not. But at your side, I think you talked about Orville earlier, where they're in it's a weird column that it's in.
Yeah.
It's Seth calls it an office comedy set in space.
Mm-hmm.
But they tackle some grown-up issues, some very mature issues.
Yeah.
But there's also the goofy comedy and stuff. But I liked them both, so I'm going to watch them both. But that's all I had for me as far as just news items for this week.
I'm trying to think. I did see the new Charmed.
I didn't even know there was a new one.
Yeah, it's after Supergirl. I don't know.
Is it a whole new cast?
It's more of a reboot than okay, let's go from where we were.
So it is a whole new cast?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a whole new cast. They're pretty much starting from. They've changed some of the names. They've changed some of that stuff. They've changed names. They've changed some of what the characters look like and how they got together, and yeah, but the powers are the same, and then the fact that they have the white lighter, and and some of the same stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just wasn't feeling it.
You went into it. Are you still watching Murphy Brown?
I am.
Okay. Are we still in? Are we 2, 3, 4 episodes in?
We're about 4 episodes in.
And you're still watching. Okay.
I'm still watching. Murphy Brown, there are moments where I wish it would stop being, I think there's ways that it can make its point without being as preachy. And there's always a point where it starts to get a little preachy. And that's too bad, because I think they can do it in a way that would be funnier. I've enjoyed it enough that I would continue to watch it. I thought The Conners was good. I did see that last week. But again, I was watching Roseanne when it was on only because of a lot of what I saw from the series writing and from the other people in the cast than I did Roseanne. So I'm not shocked that that it was as good as it was. I know there are some people who are annoyed that they made her die of like an overdose thing, but I thought it was interesting that it allowed them to talk about how people trade medications because they can't afford them. And that kind of stuff. I thought it was interesting. And they were having conversational storylines like that when Roseanne was on the show too. It's just now it's, oh my God, why are they doing that? Well, they were doing it before when she was on the show last spring. So yeah, I liked The Conners. I know it didn't have the numbers that Roseanne had. I'm not shocked by that. Cause I'm sure there are people whose reaction is, oh, they got rid of Roseanne, I'm not watching. But I thought it was a good show.
Well, okay.
So those were good. I'm trying to think what else. Manifest has been interesting. I don't know if you caught that or not.
No. Is that the one about the plane?
Yes.
Okay. You're still watching that? Okay.
I'm still watching that. I thought that's been interesting. There's parts of it where yeah. I have this feeling, I think it got a full order for this season, but I just have this feeling like I don't think it'll go, I'll be surprised if it goes past the season, but it is behind The Voice, and The Voice is popular.
Yeah, it was what season? They do like 2 seasons a year for how long?
Right, I can't remember how much, but yeah, I mean...
How many seasons they've been doing that, so yeah it's still very popular.
Right, but The Voice is still really, really popular. That's a good time slot for it, which is behind The Voice. So
I'm thinking of Dancing with the Stars. That's another one. I think that's currently airing, I think.
Yes, it is. And I saw the new Nathan Fillion thing, the rookie thing. It's what you would expect. It's the kind of thing my mom would watch, and I'm kind of sitting there going, God, I really wish he would do something a little bit more interesting. Because he could, and he can. But, people are going to pay him to do this, and this is the kind of series where it's kind of like Boreanaz at this point, where you wish Boreanaz would do something really, really cool and interesting again. Okay, but Boreanaz is enough of a name at this point that you put him in a show and it'll be good for anywhere from 5 to 10 years. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate. Trying to think what else. I did stop New Amsterdam, which is ironically continuing. I don't know. There was something about that show, Mike, where I was just kind of like, there were some buy-in issues that I had with it.
All right. Well.
I mean, it's the hospital everybody would wish that there really, really was. And then you're sitting there going, I don't know. And then the guy, there's a few other wrinkles to it where I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I didn't find it compelling enough.
It's another hospital drama?
Yeah, I think that's the other problem too, is I'm watching some of this stuff that are dramas now, and I can't help but notice that, how many of them are, hospital related or something like that. Like The Resident, 911, The Good Doctor, which I enjoy. Yeah, I'm kind of hospital. I'm starting to get hospitaled out.
Well,
and now I will tell you, I think God Friended Me is interesting, because it's not the usual thing. I can see how certain people would sit there and go, it's kind of hokey, but it's Greg Berlanti, and they do a good job of keeping that show moving and keeping it light yet interesting. It kind of has the same feel as Manifest. I wonder if it would do better if it wasn't after football all the time, where they had to worry about if people can catch it at the right time.
Right, exactly. That's the problem with Sunday night programming.
Between
now and the end of January.
I will tell you, I think I am watching Empire. I think Empire this season's been phenomenal. And so far, I'm as much as I'm very, very leery of The Flash and some of these CW shows. My buy-in so far has been good. I like that I'm seeing direction on Supergirl. At least it seems like there's a direction. Arrow, I don't know. I like the characters. I like a lot of that stuff, but I have a feeling we're going to spend a lot of time with Oliver in prison. And it's like, this better be going someplace, if you know what I mean. Riverdale is downright strange this year. They even have a whole angle about something having to do with a cult and Dungeons and Dragons.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that stigma was done, but...
it's kind of interesting, because they're playing it off that has something to do with, it's connected to, the parents, and something when they were playing it, when they were kids, or is that supposedly the story? And then there's this entire thing where Archie's in prison, or I shouldn't say prison, He's in the juvenile detention center.
He's in juvie, okay.
He's in juvie, and I'm kind of like, it's like, okay, I get that. I mean, it's like Archie doing time. It's like, okay, I don't know. I enjoy it. I think half the time I enjoy it, Mike, is because it's just it goes so over the top in sections that it's like, wow. But it reminds me I don't ever want to live in a small town. I'll tell you that now. But I think I covered all my bases.
Yeah, that's wow. That's
I went on for a long time. Oh, and I haven't. As we're recording, Legends of Tomorrow is on, so I'm looking forward to that because of all the freaking CW superhero shows, Legends of Tomorrow is always the best.
Okay.
It's the funniest. It's the most entertaining. They do a really phenomenal job, and I enjoy their show. Oh, I take it back. There is one other thing. There's a show called All American that's right after Riverdale.
What is All American? What's that about?
All American is about a kid from Crenshaw who gets recruited to come out to Beverly Hills to play football. And is it Tay Diggs or Tyrese? I can't ever remember which one it is. It plays the coach, and at some point now this kid is living between both worlds, and apparently the coach is actually the kid's father. So it's kind of sports-based, but at the same time it's kind of got that 90210 feel to it. So it's good. I've enjoyed it. Worth watching. Certainly interesting. But yeah. And then, when it's time to go watch This Is Us and get the tissues out.
Yeah, when is that coming back?
It's back.
Oh, it's back now? Okay.
Yeah, This Is Us has been back for a couple episodes already. They just did this entire episode where it was like, we're going to tell you Jack's story in Vietnam, of which they kind of spent like 5 minutes with Jack in Vietnam and then told more backstory. That's like, it's good stuff, but sometimes I'm like, okay, just get to the point. I don't know.
In Vietnam, it had all kinds of rain.
Yeah, really. That'd been funny. It'd been really funny if one of his friends was Forrest. That'd be kind of funny.
Little bit of stinging rain. Rain has come straight up from underneath.
I like Jack.
That's right.
He's a good guy. He's gonna have 3 kids. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't watch much television, so
yeah.
I'm glad I got you here.
Yeah, I was just saying. I always find it funny because you and I'm like, hey, did you watch this?
No. Did you watch that? No.
No. Did you watch that? No. It's funny because then you guys will come back to me and go, hey, did you see this? I'll be like, no.
See, we got to cover everything with the 3 of us. We got to.
Right. Well, this goes back to there's too much shit out there in terms of content now.
There is a lot of content for something like I said. We talked about this obviously before, and I don't know how many times. I think there's a drinking game for Squares the Round Table where you take a shot every once someone says we've talked about this before, but there's something for everyone out there. That's for sure.
There should be a game. We should start developing that.
Yes. Squares the Round Squares the Round Table drinking game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be great for the holidays.
Yeah, we should have it as a collaborative game.
Yes.
The objective is to get Ivan drunk. I have no idea.
Ivan doesn't drink much.
Does he? Oh, okay.
A couple times we've had him up north, and and I'll get blasted by the campfire. But Ivan he'll sip on his whatever he's got. I don't think he's big on beer either.
Okay.
That's fine.
Hey, isn't this weekend TFCon for you guys?
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
This weekend is TFCon. That's at the Crown Plaza O'Hare in Rosemont, right across the street from the Donald A. Stevens Convention Center. Well, I think it's like across and a little bit south.
Okay.
There'll be some G1 voice actors there. There'll be some Beast Wars voice actors there. Some people from IDW Publishing. Like I said, this is the unofficial Transformers convention, but it's the biggest one in the country this year.
Okay.
Because Hasbro has their thing called HasCon. They had it 2 years ago. It was the last year in Rhode Island, and they're having another one in 2019. But this is the only game in town as far as big Transformers shows. But the problem is that this will never be an official show, because not just because Hasbro has their own thing, but because a third-party product is prevalent at these shows. And by third-party, I mean companies who don't own the rights to the Transformers franchise that are making Transformers toys, transforming robot toys that look a lot like the ones you see in the cartoons and the TVs and the movies. So, yeah, third party is a big issue. I think it's very, very, very unique among toy collectors. No other franchise has this much third party product that's rampant that Hasbro won't seemingly on the surface do much about. Like, if you mess with Star Wars, they will throw a C&D at you faster than you can say Bantha Poodle. But with Transformers, it seems like Hasbro, Takara, they don't do a whole lot. But I'll tell you, the one company, though, they will clamp down on is Bandai. Like, you try and, like, knock off some Gundams or some Power Ranger stuff, Bandai over there, they will shut you down.
Just get bought by somebody? Hasbro, right?
Hasbro got a piece of that, I think. I don't know if it's partially or totally or not. I'm not sure. But getting back to this is TFCon. There'll be third-party items galore, as well as people selling the official stuff, obviously. And yeah, that's the big thing. That's still my biggest hobby for the last 34 years of my life. And I've met a lot of great people. And I'll be meeting some great people. And we'll be having Chicago-style deep dish pizza together as a fandom and as friends and all that. So looking forward to that. And I think Ivan is going to make an appearance. I'm not sure if Zesby, his boss over at Logan Arcade, he's a big robots guy. He showed up 2 years ago, and he was spending some money.
What are you looking forward to most to this weekend? What do you consider highlights?
Just hanging out with friends. I'm not after very much as far as new product goes. Mm-hmm. And I'll be helping a friend at his dealer table. And when the dealer room is closed for Friday night and Saturday night, I'll host a room trading party with another friend of mine in my hotel room where people can come in and we'll do trades and maybe even some sales for stuff out of our room. They allow that with these, what they used to call just parts parties, where people try and complete their figures. Have you got a missile for this Megatron or whatever? I'm like, okay, yeah, and I'll trade you this for this Starscream gun or whatever, this wing for a Thundercracker or whatever. That's what parts parties used to come from. But then now we just have trading parties where people will sell stuff out of the room. But the thing is that it's only when the dealer room is closed because you didn't pay for a table, so you better don't step on anyone's toes in that regard.
Yeah.
But I'm not after anything. I'll get a couple of the autographs from the Beast Wars voice actors. Uh-huh. That'd be fun. I'm looking to meeting a couple of people from there. But I'm just... Are
you going to the events? I'm looking at an event schedule. Is there anything here that, the
third-party panel, and maybe I'll I'll participate in the script reading, where the celebrity voice actors will have 3 or 4 people. There are 3 or 4 roles to read a script. Say, okay, we need someone to be the voice of Cliff Jumper or whatever. And so, okay, everybody, you get a line of people, and people will audition, and the voice actors, celebrity guests, will decide which one was the best Cliff Jumper, and say, you'll be this guy, so you'll sit up here, and we're going to read this script together, and usually it's kind of funny, like a little comedic little sketch that someone writes down, and that we all read the script reading, and I'll probably participate in that.
Have you gotten picked for that?
Once. At the one show I went to in 2006, I was the voice of Tarantulas. And ironically, this year, the actual voice actor for Tarantulas will be at the show. So,
Tarantulas.
So I get to...
See, that'd be right up your alley. I would think that you get picked like a lot.
Yeah.
For people who are not aware, have not figured it out, our friend Mike can seriously do some voices.
I do some impressions. That's all good.
You do some. I think you do more.
Just some. I do a couple, not too many. A couple. So also, yeah, TFCon is this weekend. It's going to be fun. So I'm just looking forward to hanging out with friends and hopefully maintaining a low level of alcohol intake. I don't want it too blasted. I went to DairyCon, which is a Wisconsin Transformers convention.
Okay.
In April, and Friday night before the show, I got wasted. And so Saturday morning, we all go down to the hotel restaurant for breakfast, and I was no good to anybody until about 11 or 12 o'clock that Saturday. So it was funny.
Yeah. I'm going to transform into my bed.
Yeah, that's right. Let me transform this dinner into a splatter on the floor because I drank too much. No, I did not. I can only say I can only count on my one hand the number of times I've drank to the point where I got sick.
Oh.
Only in my whole life, I've been able to know my limits.
Yeah.
I never exceeded warp 10 very many times.
Yeah. I get it. No.
Have you?
There have been a few occasions.
Okay.
I think the last time I got to that level, it was because, ironically, I was at a convention and we were out someplace and we had a party with people I gamed with, and I got there and some people were sitting there were bragging about what number drink they were on for the day, and they had been drinking all day, and within 2 hours I had caught up. And I knew I was in trouble. What I did not realize when I was putting pizza down on purpose was that the pizza was too greasy.
Oh, yeah, that can be bad.
And so that only acted as a catalyst for Mount Destructus.
Yeah. Grease. Oh man, that can be bad.
Yeah, it was greasy pizza, and it was so funny because my favorite is the best of Dylan. So here, the best is when I'm drunk, I can at least it's not one of those where I don't remember things or that I'm totally clueless. Yeah. So yeah, I'm smashed. There is no question I am smashed. And I'm watching a whole bunch of people huddle up in the corner, and they're talking, and they're all talking amongst themselves like they need to figure out a plan. And it's becoming really, really clear that this huddle has to do with the fact that they think it's going to be a problem for me to have somebody take my keys and drive me. And I'm sitting there trying not to laugh because if I laugh, I'm going to fall out of the chair. I'm never going to get back up again. But they come walking over in this group, and they're all like, "We don't think you should drive." And my next reaction, Mike, was, "No shit! Who's driving me? Who's driving me? Here are the keys. I can't drive. I'm drunk as fuck." And they all have this look on their face like, that was far easier than we ever imagined. Well, of course it's easy. I drank way too much. I'm totally plastered. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid. The only thing that was stupid was about, and this is the one thing for the kids at home who might be listening, and I don't know why they'd be listening.
Yeah.
But if they are, when it comes time to release the stuff that you released, the one thing that I have learned is you don't really want to aim for the toilet. What you really, really want to do is you want to go to the bathtub.
Okay, if it can be, yeah. If that might be an easier scenario.
Right, because
especially if it's a hotel bathroom toilet and it's a lot smaller than your average household toilet.
So if you hit the if you're more in terms of a projectile at that time,
right? Because
getting
it's
it all in there is not so easy. However, if I had gone to the bathroom and if I had gone to the bathtub and done that, all I would have had to do is turn on the faucet and it would have been washed away.
Right, and flushing sometimes doesn't get all the stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And our apologies if you're eating while listening to this podcast, but
Yum.
yeah.
Yum.
Sometimes when you have that, when the gear hits reverse, you have no control where it's going.
Oh, no.
It's all involuntary muscles.
Well, my favorite is people are saying, they're like, why didn't you go to the bathtub? Because everything I know says not. Why would I ever think about going?
Yeah, your first instinct is to use the toilet because that's what our brain says. That's where we go.
Yes. And every movie and TV show I've ever seen is go to the toilet.
Yeah.
Why would I think go to the bathtub? That's very logical and you're 100% correct. But nothing I've ever seen in any movie or TV show or anything would make me think go to the bathtub.
You are wise beyond your years, Jeff.
Well, no, that's where I learned this. I'm like, next time, I'm like, all right, next time.
Yeah, I gotta try and remember that. If I start drinking, I just need to write, give me a pen, and I'll write tub, on my arm or something.
Yeah, really, no joke. I think and the only other memorable time that I got drunk was, I shouldn't say only, but one of the more memorable times I got drunk was, the year I was up in Vermont, and we went up to, we were all not of age, and so we drove up to Montreal, which is really only about 3-4 hours away from where we were in Vermont.
How was the border crossing?
Border crossing was fine. It was easy. This is the early 90s.
Yeah, this is back then. You didn't even need a passport to drive over the border back then.
Right, you didn't need anything. It was, you got anything to declare? No, not really.
And you got local people who know, okay, if we go over this border crossing, you're less likely to get stopped and whatever.
Although it was funny, because we were a caravan of 3 cars, and we did run into an issue, and the issue was we totally forgot that one of the people in one of the cars was from Mexico. And at the time, NAFTA didn't exist. So as a result, they got stopped and they were stuck for a while. But we got there and I had not really had anything most of the day. And I was out with everybody. And I kept saying to people, I need to eat. And everybody was like, no, you don't need to eat. I'm like, no, I need to eat. Because I know how it works, which is if I don't eat and I start drinking like a madman, I am going to be drunk.
Fast.
And we're going around different bars in Montreal, and we're having a good time. After a while, I am just like, okay. And it was really clear to everybody. It was really clear to everybody as we're about to leave. They're like, he's really drunk. I'm like, yes, I am. I warned you all that I needed food, but you guys were all like, no, we don't have time to eat. And I told you I was planning on drinking since normally I have to drive, and I figured that was a good time to drink.
And you were just bar hopping. You weren't getting a sit down to get appetizers or something?
Right. It was real actual bars and dancing and girls and shots and stuff like that. And of course, booze at the time in Canada was cheap. I want to say it was $2 Canadian to get a Molson, and it was really kind of worth it. But we're walking back to the hotel, and the hotel's got to be at least about 4 to 6 blocks. And as we're walking back to the hotel, I have to pee. And we're walking back, and I'm like, we gotta stop. Everybody's like, no, we don't. I said, yes, we do. And they're like, just keep walking. I'm like, I can't keep walking. And they're like, finally I just yelled out, I'm like, I have to pee! As loud as possible. And of course there's people around everywhere.
Yep.
And they're like, all right, let's go find a bathroom. So I think they found me a Burger King, and we're walking into the Burger King. They're like, may we help you? I'm like, yeah, I'd like that and Zach, like, pulling me the other way. I'm like, no. And so I'm leaving from the bathroom, and they're like, God, we've never seen you drunk. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of, they're like, we like you drunk. I'm like, most people do. But we're walking back, and at the time in Montreal, I don't know how it is now, but you knew who were the ladies of the evening.
Right, yeah.
And it was really obvious, and they'd be standing around, you could see them, and they're like, they start walking up to us as we're going. And in fairness, they were all pretty good looking. And, well, then again, I was drunk, so what do I know?
Right, you've got the goggles on already, so.
Yeah, but they seemed pretty good. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, can we help you? And I'm like, absolutely. And they're like, no. They're like, yeah. And they're like, well, I'm like, well, all you gotta have is some money. I'm like, I don't have any money, but I'll do it for free. And they're like pulling me back, and eventually we get to the hotel. The next morning I woke up, I swear to God, I thought I felt like a human roulette wheel. All I needed was for someone to put the ball in the spin, because I thought that's what my head was going to do.
I've rarely had really bad hangovers. I had that bad one when we came back. The Saturday morning for DairyCon, I had a bad hangover, but most hangovers, like when I used to go up north and we'd have our Saturday night campfires, and the Sunday morning, and we go into the Greasy Spoon for breakfast, usually I was not bad.
Mm.
But this time I had, So I rarely have really bad hangovers, but
the only time, actually I take it back. The most recent one was a couple years ago when I had lost all the weight, and I'm drinking, and I'm like, why? I don't understand. I should be fine. I drink like this all the time. And I'm like, oh, wait.
You're smaller.
I'm a lot smaller now. I can't drink like that anymore. And it does, because I don't have the weight to use to my advantage. And I'm like, oh, I've drank too much. That's great. That was kind of amusing.
So, So, helpful tip. Yeah, use the tub when playing the Squares of the Round Table drinking game.
Yes, use the tub. Yeah. That is I think use the tub is when you take a shot, right? If we talk about use the tub, I don't know. We'll figure out a game.
Yeah.
So before we get to the kind of the wacky stuff, apparently John Carpenter has said a few things. One, apparently he's not so thrilled with the moving forward of Big Trouble Little China, that he's like, whatever, it is what it is. But I guess he teased the possibility of a They Live sequel.
Now, what's this about Big Trouble in Little China? Were they going to reboot it?
Oh, have you not heard about this?
I might have read a headline, but no, I didn't read any articles.
Okay, so they're not rebooting. They are moving the storyline forward, and it's going to feature The Rock. The Rock will not be playing Jack Burton. He'll be playing a different character entirely.
Okay.
But it's in that Big Trouble universe.
Okay. Well,
it'll basically be them moving things forward.
Okay, in the same universe. Okay.
Yeah, and my understanding is that it will be linked to move forward.
Okay.
It will not be, which is smart, because I don't think anybody could redo the Jack.
Oh, speaking of as a real quick aside, I did see the trailer for Kurt Russell in the Christmas Chronicles. That's a Netflix series coming in November.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
That could be interesting, where it's sort of more of a, I don't know if I want to call it like realistic or grittier or more down-to-earth kind of Santa, but still looks interesting. But yeah, I didn't hear about, I did remember, I remember reading something about The Rock and Big Trouble in Little China, but I didn't read the article. So, okay, if it's fine in the same universe, and it's not like any kind of Ghostbusters-esque kind of reset.
Yeah, no, that's not my understanding. My understanding is that
it's not The Rock as a new Jack Burton in a new. Okay.
No, they're moving things forward. It's what I would. There are certain things where it's like when I sit there and I see the reboot aspect. There are certain things where I'm like, okay, I could live with a reboot. Like, for example, Charmed would have been better not as a reboot. It would have been better if you had kept what had happened and somehow this is the new power of 3 or something like this. I think that would have been better than what you've decided to do. But that's just me. But apparently, like I said, John Carpenter talking about teasing the possibility that there may be a They Live sequel script or rights or something where there's a conversation where I guess this is being revisited. So that's crazy. I mean, I didn't, it's certainly sad because, obviously Roddy Piper not available.
Yeah. Cult classic.
Yeah, some real famous lines in that movie.
Yeah, man.
The big one being about, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum and I'm fresh out of bubblegum. I
remember that the South Park episode where they had the 2 handicapped kids almost recreate the whole fight scene from They Live.
Mm.
When I forget what he was even about, but obviously it was the scene where Roddy Piper and he wanted to show the other guy, he wanted to put on the sunglasses.
Yeah.
And it was a whole fight, and there was no music. So that was funny. But yeah, that was great film, loved it. But yeah, it was 2015 when Piper died.
Yeah, so no Piper.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we'll see. Everything's, like I said, everything's getting remade and rebooted, so why not?
Who was the other guy? Keith David. Okay, yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, Keith David. Yeah, he's done a lot of voice work.
He has
a very distinctive voice.
Keith David's been around for a long time. Oh, yeah. I think Keith David's still alive.
Yeah, he is.
If they worked off of that, but obviously, more about Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
One other thing, and then we get to the fun stuff, I think, is I don't know if this as we went on air, this is kind of gotten out there. I know, Mike, I know you've watched wrestling in the past. I don't know how much you know about what's going on currently, but one of their biggest stars is a guy by the name of Roman Reigns, and apparently he came out on Monday Night Raw and essentially...
Was this last night?
No, this is while we're actually recording.
This was today.
Right. This actually
22nd.
Before we started recording tonight, which is apparently, unbeknownst to anyone, he had been fighting leukemia previous to this when he was in his 20s, and he had gotten into remission. Apparently it has returned. He's the WWE champion, right? One of the WWE champions right now, and he had to vacate the title, and he says it's not life-threatening, and he says that he'll be back to wrestling, but at the moment, that's it. And, I wish him all the best. It's kind of shocking.
Oh.
That's kind of out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was aware of this. I can find the WWE statement if you want, but
I'll find the clip, I'm sure.
Yeah, I actually have the clip. You know what? Oh. I'll put it I actually have the clip on my page already.
Okay, go ahead and share it to the Scores of the Round Table Facebook page so people can watch
that. That's exactly where I was going to go next, which is...
Well, that's unfortunate. We wish him the best here, Wrestling has always been kind of in the background for me. It was never in the forefront of any of my favorite fandoms or activities, but it was always there for me. So, Roman Reigns, best of luck to you.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I don't want to delve too much into the politics, but they're supposed to do a show in Saudi Arabia here in a couple of weeks, and with everything that's going on, my understanding is there's a few superstars who've talked about that they don't want to go, like Daniel Bryan and John Cena, and with Roman Reigns out of the picture, I'm kind of curious, especially considering the fact that he's the Raw champion, or what would they call the Universal champion. So I'm curious to see where that's going to go, and I'm sure that screws up some storylines. Not that that's important. I do think it's ironic because there's a whole lot of people who have not really liked this guy because people thought he's been forced down their throats. Where it's, obviously nobody knew about this, but now people are like, boy, just hope the guy goes okay. But it's really kind of shocking because I think the guy's in his 30s. So, kind of crazy.
That's too bad.
Yeah, let's see. So let's try to get to something fun, shall we? By the way, apparently, I don't know if you caught this. Apparently, Nintendo is talking about creating theme parks within Universal.
Sure. Nintendo has a lot of beloved characters and beloved games. So, sure.
Could you imagine, the Mario Kart track has to, basically take up the entire Nintendo land, right?
Maybe. That could be part of it. Maybe part of the outside, and then, people on the inside. You could walk, over bridges or overpasses on the big Mario Kart track.
Right.
And inside, you could have, a Legend of Zelda area or something.
Right, but I would imagine, considering the fact the first reaction would be Mario Kart, I would have to think that the Mario Kart thing would be huge. Almost would, take up, I wouldn't say it would take up everything, but I would think it'd almost have to be, it would go all over the park, if you know what I mean. If you understand what I mean. I think that would have to be a must to me, right?
Sure, yeah.
I guess.
Or maybe something we used to do on those crazy Japanese game shows where you could have to run through a level.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be amusing. Let's see. This is kind of amusing. This is kind of amusing. This is few stories from Canada today. Apparently, there was a gentleman who.
Well, I'm sure now that certain material has been legalized, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of news of this nature out of Canada from now on.
That's later on. We do have something about that.
Yeah.
But apparently there was a gentleman. I'm looking to see if we have a name here. I'm trying to see. Apparently he does a YouTube channel, but apparently the guy showed up and set up across from a vegan protest where he pulled out a barbecue and started barbecuing hot dogs.
Nice.
Across the street. And there's a part of me where I'm like, that's kind of genius. So I thought that was kind of amusing.
Did he get... Did he suffer any backlash? Did anybody knock his grill over or throw fake blood on him or something? There were no circumstances. Just the hilarity of cooking meat across the street from pet lovers, animal lovers.
There's video of this, okay. And it's on the Squares of the this story's on the Squares of the Roundtable podcast Facebook page. Okay. But apparently, he sets up and starts cooking the dogs, and apparently he's giving away the hot dogs for free to passing motorists, while the activists do the best to ignore him. At one point, he crosses.
That's even better.
At one point, he crosses the street to generally offer his wiener to a female protester. She looks at him with irritation and snaps, "Go across the road right now, or I'll call the police." At another point, an activist stops by the grill to express her disgust, calling the hot dogs gross. I guess they're more fans of carrot dogs.
God.
Apparently, it was not nearly as explosive. They think maybe because it was in Canada. But I do think that's kind of genius, which is... That sounds like... Although, in PCU, there was the one scene where they're protesting about meat, and they take all the meat and they start throwing it all over them from above. Isn't there? Isn't there that scene?
I don't remember.
There's that. I know that there's that. Let's see, what else we got? This personal assistant quit her job to solve breast sweat, and her company's done over $1 million so far.
How do you solve the terrible, awful issue of under breast sweat.
Apparently this was a Shark Tank thing.
Oh.
Apparently this is, is she really on Shark Tank with this? Yes, apparently so. Aaron Robinson, who is 35, and, was on Shark Tank and has a company created something called the Tata Towel. And is now bringing in about 7 figures. Apparently she was on Shark Tank recently. She said that she has sold 1.1 million of these bras.
Okay, so it's a special bra that'll absorb the excessive moisture from perspiration.
Yes, apparently so. Apparently this is a common issue for well-endowed women.
I can imagine it would be.
Apparently this is...
I'll bet it can be just as bad as, like, underarm.
Yeah. Well, no, I just think it's kind of funny because it's like, of all the things you could... I think I'm enough said. I don't need to go any further than that. I could go...
I think you brought our audience abreast to the situation.
Yes, I did.
And you weren't a boob about it.
This is kind of... I don't know if this is really a funsy story or not. I guess Sarah Silverman...
I guess it is now.
Sarah Silverman was on... Sarah Silverman was on Howard Stern.
Was she promoting Wreck-It Ralph 2, or just on as a guest, or?
No, on as a guest, but it's possible promoting Wreck-It Ralph 2, which would be interesting considering the fact
you're going on Howard Stern.
Well, considering the fact that apparently somehow they got on the conversation. I guess she's a friend of Louis C.K. And here we'll start with this. Quote, "I don't know if I'm going to regret this," said Silverman. "I've known Louis forever. I'm not making excuses for him, so please don't take it this way. We are peers. We are equals. When we were kids, he asked if he could masturbate in front of me, and sometimes I'd go, fuck yeah, I want to see that." It's not analogous to other women that are talking about what he did with them. He could offer me he could offer me nothing. We were only just friends. Sometimes, yeah, I wanted to see it. It was amazing. Sometimes I would say, fuck no, gross, and we got pizza. That is the exact quote.
Okay. But the fact that it happened when she had to bring it up, that maybe when she said kids, it just thought as being as a young adult, as an immature person. But I don't think I even want to know more about this story. Louis C.K., I don't know if he's going to come back. I think he might have been Cosby'd now. His reputation. I don't know if he'll be coming back in the same way, at least the same popularity. I don't know if he'd be filling seats anymore after this whole, in the Me Too thing. You think Louis C.K. could come back from what's happened to him?
That's really been the $1 million question, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is the question with some of these. I mean, like, I hope Kevin Spacey saved his money, because it seems like Kevin Spacey's up the creek at this point. I don't know how Kevin Spacey is going to work again. Not that I'm advocating that he should. I'm just saying, like, for example, with that whole thing with Billy Bush with Trump, it's like, I hope he had money. I mean, I know they were making big money, but you hope that they socked away quite a bit, because you're not going to be making the money you used to be making all of a sudden now.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. I don't know if any charges have been brought against him, but I know he's just been, he's obviously, his career is over.
Right, there's been talk and stuff.
But Weinstein, they're still working about whatever's going on with him. And, of course, Bill Cosby, he's probably going to spend the rest of his... unless he's in a courtroom or some halfway house, he's not... Yeah. And then I think he's gone blind. Isn't he? Is legally blind?
I have no idea.
So whatever. So, yeah, Cosby's done.
Speaking of people who might go blind, we did mention that there was another story about the other story in Canada, which apparently, this is according to Rolling Stone, because of course they would know, Canadian pot dispensaries are almost out of weed. They claim that the shortage of certain marijuana products could last months and some say this could have been avoided.
There's a weed shortage.
Yeah, as long as they're not short chips.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, but apparently, here's the thing. How did, they got a point. You knew this was going to be popular. And anybody who lived in any state that was near Canada.
Yeah. But when you legalize an entire country, when an entire country legalizes a substance that's very popular with a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be high demand. And that demand, obviously, is getting met.
Well, like I said to you, it's funny because we talked about it earlier that I was in, I went from Vermont to Montreal. It took me a couple hours. So, yeah, this doesn't shock me.
Yeah, and there are several states in this United States where marijuana is still illegal.
Right.
So people will be happy to cross the border. They'll pay $90 for a passport or whatever, and spend the weekend on the other side.
It's funny because I think Michigan allows for medical at this point. Or I don't know what the deal is with Michigan. I know Michigan has something that they allow there, but still, I can't imagine that there aren't people going over the Michigan border or Minnesota or some of those places, where, the border's right there. But yeah, apparently hundreds of customers stood in lines day and night into night in cities like Montreal and to find limited selection of products inside. At one store, customers were in line when suddenly told they were no longer be accepting credit or debit cards for payment. There was a line of 50 people or more trying to get to the bank machine. Apparently, there's a quote here from a guy named John Matherson, who was apparently there, a disgruntled customer. He says, quote, "To me, this is a complete failure of the management of the cannabis agency."
He's blaming Canada?
Yep. The Cannabis Agency of Canada.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
Yeah, really, no joke. Shut up, Kyle! Well, they didn't do that well. So, yeah, apparently. So, yeah, my worry, again, maybe I'm probably beating this joke into the ground, but I'd be more worried about things like chips.
Right, when they run out of munchies, man.
Yeah. Or Taco Bell. I would think Taco Bell would be out of food.
Canadian Taco Bells have fries.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't think I was in it. Well, why would I eat a Taco Bell in Canada? That wouldn't make any sense at all. Hey, how we had the story the other week about not putting urine in the microwave?
Oh yeah, the gas station that had to put the sign up that says, "Please don't please don't microwave your urine to take it next door to the drug testing lab."
Yeah. So along those lines, there is now a Subway. I have no idea where. I'm just looking at this. What's here? There's a poster that's up apparently at the Subway that says, "Ouija boards and seances are not allowed to be performed in this shop. Haunt your own house. Thank you."
Why would you want to perform a seance at a Subway?
I don't know. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I even brought it up. I'm like looking at this going, really? Seriously? This is... My God. What? We need to have a seance, but I need a cold cut combo.
I can understand maybe like at a Wendy's, like try and get in touch with the ghost of Dave Thomas.
Yeah.
But no, not for a Subway. Like, okay.
I don't know.
If I was into that kind of thing, I think that would be like the last place on earth that I would crack out my Ouija board and say, okay, let's get in touch with the spirit world.
Now, if I was vegan, that would be my way to troll food restaurants, is if I pulled out a Ouija board or had a seance trying to contact the dead animals.
Right.
That'd be kind of amusing and funny.
Meanwhile, helping your girlfriend with her underbreast sweat.
Yeah.
Getting her that new revolutionary Tata towel.
Yeah, that's the trick. Maybe you can wear it while you're riding around on Mario Kart. I have no idea.
In the Nintendo Land theme park.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what do you got going this weekend, Mike?
Yeah, like I said, I'll be at TFCon this weekend. I don't know if you'll be able to catch me. I'll be around. If you're there, cool. Hey, be nice to meet you. Hit me up. Maybe if you're on the Squares of the Round Table Facebook page, send me a PM there. Or there's also this other thing called email. You can email us at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter as well at sotrtpodcast. And thank you for listening as well as usual on PodBean and YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. What do I got this weekend?
What are you doing?
Let's see. Well, Sunday night I'm at Windy City Professional Speakers. I don't know if I'm speaking or not. And that's out in Oak Brook.
Okay.
But Thursday night I am competing in the North Division contest for Toastmasters. I am in the division final for the evaluation and tabletopist contest. So hoping for the best. And we'll see where that goes. But we'll hopefully we'll have good news on the next show.
Yeah, next week Ivan will be back with us, and we'll get a wrap up from TFCon, and we'll find out what kind of procedure had. If Ivan just got his appendix removed, or if he's transitioning, we don't know. We're going to find out.
Transitioning?
I don't know. We don't know.
Oh, well.
All I know is it was a non-life-threatening procedure. So we wish him the best, of course. He's like my brother from another mother. I love him. So hopefully he'll be back, and you'll be back as well. We appreciate you listening.
Absolutely. Have a great week, everybody.